My buddy Alien Protocol's with me today, and he's sort of taken up a lot of stuff I used to do with chasing the CIA around and documents and stuff. And he's got some updates. I haven't talked to you since you had a long conversation with Joe Firmage. Do you want to go over that first? You had
all the way back, yeah. After our first conversation about him, I'd had actually two conversations with him, two long conversations. And I just can't say enough how I'm just really impressed with him as a human being first. You know, I just find Joe to be someone who really earnestly cares about humanity's future. It's not BS. It's really his life calling. You know, we all have different callings, and some people think more immediately, and some people think, you know, months in advance, and he thinks, you know, many years in advance. And he really cares about humanity's future. And I really truly believe from my only two conversations with him and some emails, despite him being told not to speak to me by Ron.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. The second time he was told that Ron told him not to speak to me.
Oh, wow. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
You're on the radar.
When you get that stamp of approval, the "Don't speak to Buddy" from Ron stamp, you know you must be doing something right.
There you go. Right on.
You might be shedding a little bit of truth or light on some shadows. But anyway, Joe, I just find to be a really earnest guy. He is a genius. I didn't know that he himself was really the scientific genius. He's a self-taught genius. Even Ron acknowledged that in an email to me, that he is mostly self-taught. And but, you know, I found out even more about the company and the nature of the company and the structure of the company. And despite Joe being a true genius in this stuff, and he walked me through a bunch of different things. He made me get out a piece of paper and draw stuff and go through some theories with him. And I know some basic physics, so he really blew my mind. But I was more impressed with him as a human being and his concern for humanity in the future. But he, you know, in the structure of this company has really been misled by Ron. And, you know, we can just be really frank about it. His company is structured like a joke. You know, it's structured not to be a success, not like a real anti-gravity or propulsion system company would be structured. Very non-traditional people like Kevin Alber and John Sillison and these other people who are associated with the company that make it a not serious effort. The science behind it is fascinating. It has this e-gyro thing does have some merits to it. It's being done currently by other people. There's Clovis DeMatos and Martin Tajmar are doing the same exact thing, the same exact premise, but just at a higher rate. And in fact, they have some success. They've released some information, some studies and stuff, saying how much weight theirs can lift and all that stuff. But I've also heard that in the black world, they have done the same thing, but in a much larger scale. They've taken the principle of these electronic gyros and kind of put gyros within gyros, and it reveals a quirk about space-time, the fabric of space-time. I don't know all the details, but you can be sure if Ron, who is the head of the science and research division for the CIA, saw any merits in what Joe Firmage was doing, he would have contracted at a much higher level within the government, within the black, you know, some research into it. And I believe that has been done, and has been done at a much higher level. And in fact, I brought that up to Joe. I said, Joe, I think it's highly likely that, you know, Ron has taken this stuff to the black world and they may be reproducing this at a bigger, more grand scale. And he said to me, I hope so. I hope they are. And that really goes to the point about him really caring about the bigger picture. Yes, he does care about his investors making money. But something like this, if it is true, if he does even reduce specific gravity of vehicles, that's a big deal. If he's able to even reduce specific gravity of vehicles, that is a very big deal, and that'll be worth a lot of money.
So that's the bottom line of his thing is the gravity. What about the portals? Did you talk to him about the portal?
The portal stuff is all it's not really true. It's just a Ron kind of fantasy to take you off on a different angle. There is, with anything like this, you're going to have some parapsychological theories and conspiracies swirling around it. But to be frank, there's been nothing solid, nothing that gives any real true indication that there's any portal aspects of this.
But did you ask Joe about that? Did you bring up the portal?
Yeah, we touched on it briefly. He spoke about it also having other effects. He didn't go into the specifics of portals, but he was saying how it has other effects, and some of these are an energy generation as well too. It also has it costs and then creates energy, and there's a weird energy thing going on with it as well too. But no, there's no traditional like Stargate portal where you step through a ripple of water and you're at a different space time. None of that stuff. And I don't believe, despite the rumors, that any of that is true about that. I think Dan and some other people believe that is true, but I have a strong belief it isn't true.
Are they close to doing anything? Is he close to sort of going into production or something?
Apparently, for a while now, he's been close to a release, a big release.
Okay.
And Ron has been saying that for quite a while, hinting. In fact, on the forum, and he sent this out to quite a few people who don't even go to the forum, Ron did, that there is an essay contest. And the title of the essay contest is Kevin and Joe Unlocking the Secrets of the Metaphysical to Save the Universe, or something like that. But very similar to that. And it's so, and the winner of the essay contest gets to join Kevin and Joe at an international awards event. So, you have to chuckle. If you really follow this on the appropriate level, you have to chuckle at the stagecraft, Code 42. Code 42.
Yeah. Code 42. That was a good one. So you're dealing with Ron as well. So what's happening there? He's sort of taken a shine to you, and he wants to talk to you. Or?
Yeah, we've become so cuddly, wuddly. It's just nudderific. Basically, what happened is I just keep circle around with him. I had gotten a hold of the Chris Mellon leak.
Describe what that is.
The Chris Mellon leak is Chris Mellon a few weeks ago had accidentally posted for just a few seconds on his website a folder that had a bunch of stuff in it. It had the unredacted Tic Tac report with sources, code names, addresses, phone numbers, the after action report, pictures of DVDs of the videos that To the Stars has not released yet. They have been cleared by the Defense Department, but I think Luis Elizondo and the others like to have it clear a few other departments first, or it's supposed to. But they're still holding on to those DVDs. They also had Luis Elizondo's resignation letter. I found out about it, and I got the copies of everything.
Oh, so you got the copies of everything. And what have you posted? You posted Luis Elizondo's resignation letter? I
posted the resignation letter in a video format, and then I did a transcript of it in another video. I posted the extended contracts list. Al Putoff was talked about at IRBA, the International Remote Viewers Association meeting about 2 months ago, about some of the contracts. He was allowed to mention this, that he had distributed based around the UFO field. And they are if you're interested in the nuts and bolts, this is a very fascinating lead, and it's a very fascinating breadcrumb trail.
Yeah, I saw it.
There's a list of these very fascinating research topics, who they were given to, what companies, from Lockheed Martin to Skunk Works to, a lot of universities to quite a few to Eric Davis.
There you go.
Eric Davis got like 5 or 6 contracts, in fact, most of them on vacuum energy and stuff that Hal is associated with.
And where have you got this posted? Tell people where you posted this stuff.
Both of them are on my YouTube channel, Alien Protocols on YouTube. And I didn't post any other paper copies or versions of it. There's other aspects of this report, and I'm not going to post those because they have code names and personal phone numbers and stuff that I think goes to national security issues. And although I care about disclosure very much, and this information needs to go out to the public, there are people and individuals that I don't think their lives should be put out there. Some of the researchers who did the after-action studies on the Tic Tac report, and stuff like that. So I only put out the.
So you're saying there's researchers working with them? Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, there's researchers working with the government.
And would we know who these people are?
No. Some of them you would not know. Some, I'll just say, already teach at certain schools for the government, and some of them are people that you know, like Fravor is one of them. I'll tell you his code sign. His code sign was sex.
Wow.
That was his code sign.
I can't file a freedom of information request and you can black out some stuff?
I bet they would, and they would give you this stuff.
I want you to. I'm going to file it with you.
With me. Well, here's the tricky situation that I'm in. Because these were leaked into the public domain, I'm technically safe. I did not go out and acquire them. I didn't hack to get classified documents. Some of the stuff has such personal information. Like, there is someone who is a very important researcher, and her code name is New Girl. I'll just say what her code name is.
Okay.
And I have all of her phone numbers and her information and how to reach her and emails and, you know, that kind of stuff I don't think should be out there in the public domain. That stuff should be redacted. In fact, I spoke to George Knapp, and he had the redacted versions of some of this stuff and wondered how I'd gotten the unredacted versions. And he had also seen the Luis Elizondo resignation letter. And you can imagine how that got into Chris Mellon's hands. Yeah. You can just put the pieces together yourself. They're working at the same company. Lewis told him, you know, hey, this is why I quit. You know, here, I'll even give you a copy of my resignation letter. Don't release it yet, but I want you to have a copy of it, you know, just to put in your folder or whatever. And so that's probably exactly what happened.
And so what kind of reaction have you gotten? I know you got a reaction from Ron, right?
Oh, I sure did. The first I got a call from Jack Sarfati saying that the FBI is probably coming after me.
Okay. Which they didn't show up, though. They didn't show up.
No, well, not that I know. I haven't been to the farm since I was at Joshua Tree. So I haven't been at the farm yet. I've been on the run.
On the run. There you go. Somewhere in New York City.
I'm in the Bronx. I dare them to come find me in the Bronx. They'll get attacked and stabbed before they make it to me.
Good night.
But so Ron basically gave it the official stamp of approval in saying that the this is an important part too. 2 weeks previously, I got more documents. I got documents all the way back to 1962, pictures and stuff. Some of this with stamped classifications I've never even heard of before. And I've gone through a majority of it. I haven't gone through all of it, but 2 manila envelopes, and they're the old kind with the string that wraps around the button on the bottom.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I told Ron, you know, I have this stuff, and he says, you know, don't worry, it's all fake. The Chris Mellon stuff is all fake, and it's all fake. So that, of course, means it's real.
Yeah.
And then he said something to the effect of, on the OMF forum, if it was real, I would send a team of agents, 4 agents or team of agents to go and capture you right now. And I said, well, since it got leaked into public domain, you can't do that. But what I would do is I would send a team of fashion police to cut your man ponytail, confiscate your man purse, and your man sandals. I called it Merce and a stallion tail. And I don't think that ingratiated me to Ron very much.
But you may have his respect now.
I think, well, perhaps, maybe a tiny scotch, a tiny little bit. But it's interesting that no real news platforms have picked up on it. No, you know, I think the fact that Luis Elizondo's resignation letter is a newsworthy story. I think the fact that a guy who is in charge of a UFO program at the highest level within this stovepipe quit because of what he cites as bureaucratic snafus and a lack of a desire to earnestly investigate this topic. When he quits under that specific reason, he quit in protest. That's a news story, and that's important information, and it's important UFO history, I believe.